welcome back to Desktop Bodybuilding. Today I'm joined by the winner of the Vancouver Pro Qualifier in the men's bodybuilding, Cody Drobot. Cody, welcome to Desktop Bodybuilding.
Thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure. I've been watching your channel as it grows. So yeah, thanks for having me on.
I appreciate that, bro. And I was actually surprised when I got a message from you because I mentioned you in that Vancouver wrap up and I was like, you know, because I've followed you for a long time, you know, and I think like just in the Instagram algorithms, you've just fell down a bit. Maybe I didn't like enough of your posts or something, so I hadn't seen as much from you, but I saw a bit coming up to this comp, and then it was awesome to see you actually win because, you know, someone who you follow on Instagram, you're always sort of hoping that they do well, and you won in bodybuilding as well. So I was sort of surprised to see that, and most people know you as a classic physique guy. Everyone's like, this guy is classic physique, and you pull off those crazy vacuums, which I'll talk about a bit more later in the interview. But what was the reason for going bodybuilding over classic physique?
Yeah, so actually I did the Vancouver Pro Qualifier last year, and like you said, I competed in the classic division, and my coach Neil Hill and I, we both decided that heading into that show that would be my last run at classic physique, just simply because the weight restriction that, or the weight cap that I was restricted to, I had to be 182 pounds for my height as an amateur. And, you know, suffering to make that weight cut was never an issue for me. The issue was filling out properly or adequately to, you know, present my physique at its full potential on stage. That was always an issue that we ran into because once I crossed a certain point of depletion, I mean, realistically, it took up to 5 days to properly fill me back out. Like, for example, when I competed at the Arnold, I was fortunate enough to walk away with a fourth placing, but I loaded on about 22,000 calories for that show because there was an early weigh-in option on Wednesday, and the amateurs competed Friday. So the first day of loading, I loaded on about 1,700 grams of carbs and woke up still super fat the next day, just because my body just turned into a furnace.
Where were you getting those carbs from? Like, what carb sources were you using?
So the first day we used cream of rice was my main source of carbs with honey, and I would have cream of rice with steak, and then about 2 hours later I would have cream of rice with a muffin, and then we would just rotate back and forth like that. And the following morning when I woke up still super flat, that's when we started introducing, you know, more fats, and I had like a pancake breakfast with whole eggs and hash browns, and then we would go back to cream of rice again, and then I would rotate from kind of a dirtier meal to clean, dirty, clean, and then it wasn't until about 11 p.m. Thursday night that I finally started to fill out. But then by the time we hit stage the next day, you know, usually as you pose, you get harder, fuller, and it was the opposite for me. My body just used up all that glycogen, and I actually just got flatter as we posed.
Yeah. Do you have a fast metabolism? I imagine you probably do if that's not able to fill you out properly.
Yeah, very, very fast metabolism. So that's also, again, once I crossed that certain point of depletion with my metabolism, it's just so hard to bring me out of that.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned obviously that you did compete in classic physique. Now you went obviously the open bodybuilding to qualify to become an IFBB Pro. Where do you go now? Because as far as I know, I think I saw on a photo that you're in 190 something pounds. I don't know if that's this year, but are you going to do 212 open classic physique as a pro? How does that work for you?
I aspire towards the 212 division. So I believe I can be 192 as a pro in the classic division now. I weighed in at the Vancouver Pro Qualifier at 197, which was the top of light heavyweight.
Oh yeah, it'd be tough, like especially putting on more muscle. It'd be tough to stay in that class.
Yeah, so like I said, when I did the Vancouver Pro Qualifier last year in classic, I had to be under 182, and I always just barely squeezed under that cap. I believe I was 181.8, and then I was about 15 pounds heavier this year. So, and you know, a big reason why I fell in love with bodybuilding was through training, and my training approach was drastically changed when I was in classic, just because I had to be careful not to outgrow that weight cap.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you mentioned your coach is Neil Hill. Now, he's been in the media in the past day or two with the whole William Bonac situation. Have you spoke to him at all about that, and what do you think about it?
I saw William's video there, and that came to me, that was a big shock, because how he was describing Neil in that video is polar opposites as to my own personal experience with Neil. I've been working with Neil for about 2 years now, and since day one, he's always treated me like I was someone already, if that makes sense. You know, he's been incredibly kind, caring to not only myself, but my fiance. He speaks to my fiance on the phone. I FaceTime him almost daily. I've built quite the personal relationship with Neil outside of our professional relationship. So I mean, again, that was obviously a very emotionally driven video that William had there. And again, I can't speak too much on that, just because that's not my experience. But what I can confidently say is my own experience with Neil has been nothing shy of incredible. He's been great. So I fly down August 5th to go spend some time with him, and he's opened his doors to me. He's been great.
Yeah, and it seems like he's super attentive, especially with his, you know, like top amateur and pro clients as well. And obviously you can't do that for absolutely everyone if he's got quite a lot of clients, but yeah.
You're exactly right. But yeah, again, back to my own experience with him, like, he was checking in on me, you know, 3-4 times a day when we just did the Vancouver show there, you know, always checking in. Wow. Whether it be, you know, me sending him pictures, or he would FaceTime me, but he was very attentive towards me. And again, he was very supportive of my fiance too. So Neil is very passionate about what he does, and he cares immensely about each and every one of his clients. That I can say with 100% confidence.
That's awesome. Now, you've got quite a social following on, you know, Instagram. You've got 130 something thousand followers. Now, I noticed something a while ago, and this is how I originally found out about you, was you were putting out videos of you doing vacuums. So, yes. Which has become like very in fashion lately, like the past, you know, 6 months or so. But before that, it was sort of like you just hear about it. Oh, you can do a vacuum or whatever. It's almost like you popularized the vacuum again, and your ab control is crazy. It's not just doing a vacuum. You can pop, you know, your actual abdominals out and keep everything else in. It's pretty insane. So where did that start for you? And do you think that actually helped your social media following a huge amount? Because that's how I found out about you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? I think that was a reason why I had stayed in the classic division for so long, because that was really what, you know, got me noticed on social media when the classic division first came out in 2016. That's also when I started doing the vacuum, and that's really what got me noticed, because I don't think anyone had really been doing vacuums for quite some time. But I've always had very good mind-muscle connection. I've been very in tune with my body, so that allowed me to, you know, learn and master that vacuum technique. But I still, to this day, I still do my vacuum exercises. It actually helps with digestion and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. Do you do this like every morning, or do you do it like during the day? How do you structure that?
When I get up in the morning, fresh out of bed, that's always the best time, you know, after you go to the bathroom. That's always the best time to practice them. And I look at it like sets. I would practice in the bathroom mirror. I would pull my abdomen in and hold it in for as long as I can, and then relax. And I would call that one set. And then I would repeat that, you know, 5-6 times, and then that would be good.
Yeah, for sure. I did it for my last comp, and I didn't know what was the best way to do it. I mean, I'm going to ask you how you do it, but I was doing it like where you breathe in, breathe it all out, and then pull in. And I'd just do 3 of those every morning. And it worked amazing. Like my waist, because I did physique for the first time this year from classic bodybuilding, and my waist came in a huge amount. And people were commenting like, where'd your waist go? And I said, literally every morning I've just done 3 rotations of that for 2 months, and my waist totally changed. So how do you actually do your vacuums with the breathing and stuff?
Basically exactly how you just explained it. You know, I would breathe in, and then I would completely exhale all my air, and then that's when I would pull the abdomen in.
How long can you hold it for?
Oh, geez. Now, probably hold it for close to a minute.
That's a lot better than me. That's a lot better.
Because now, because I'm so familiar with the movement, I can actually breathe while I have the vacuum pulled in. It's also not significantly deep as it would be with all my air exhaled, but I can actually breathe with the vacuum pulled in now.
Okay, cool. Now, when like going forward as a pro, when do you want to make your pro debut? Do you have that like in the back of your head now, or are you sort of just waiting to see?
Honestly, I don't plan on stepping on stage until Neil thinks I'm ready. I have 100% full faith and confidence and trust in Neil, because realistically, for me to be competitive in the pro ranks, I'm going to have to add some quality tissue, some more density, and I'm going to need a little bit more muscle maturity as well. I just turned 26 earlier this year, so I'm still young. Time is definitely on my side, but yeah, I don't want to just compete to compete. I definitely want to make a statement and be competitive in the pro ranks.
For sure. Now, you going into the pro ranks and some of the guys that are already in there, we saw it with Vancouver Pro. You had a ton of guys like Samson Dowder, Quentin, all those guys that have the really small waists now, and they just have the better aesthetics. Do you notice that all these guys are coming through with better aesthetics? And do you think it's anything to do with, obviously the vacuums and the more emphasis on it with Sean Roden being Mr. Olympia?
Yeah, I think that plays, there's been a shift in the last year for bodybuilding, but man, it's an exciting time for bodybuilding, that's for sure. You're seeing these aesthetic freaks in all divisions, in classic, in the 212 division. I mean, Zane Watson just won the 212 division in Vancouver, and he looked incredible. Phenomenal poser too. Watching that firsthand was something special. But I mean, then again, like you said, you have Quentin in the open there. Ian Valliere, I don't know if you've ever seen his quarter turns, but his quarter turns look
to the side,
cartoonish. It's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, they're open 212 classic. There are freaks everywhere. It's like I said, it's an exciting time for bodybuilding, that's for sure.
And it seems like it's an exciting time for Canadian bodybuilding. Like, it seems like there's just so many guys coming out of Canada right now. What do you attribute that to?
You know what? So there's a lot more pro cards that are awarded in the States. In Canada, up until these last couple of years, we only had one show a year that awarded pro cards, and that was Canadian Nationals. That's grown now. We have the Toronto Super Show that awards pro cards. It's a pro qualifier. We have the Vancouver Pro Qualifier. And then again, we have Nationals, which I believe are in October. So now we have 3 shows. We also have a natural show that is a pro qualifier as well. So I guess in total, we have about 4 shows now that award pro cards. But again, to win your pro card in Canada, you have to win your class, and then you have to win the overall. Whereas I know a lot of shows like it's top 2 in a lot of divisions get awarded their pro cards, but in Canada you have to win the overall. So I think the reason why Canada's kind of been put on the map lately is the people that do win their pro cards through Canada, they're ready to compete in the pro ranks usually, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and it's the same sort of in Australia too. I mean, we have the Arnold Classic Australia, and we have our nationals, and that's the only way you can get your pro cards, and it's only the overall winners. So one overall men's physique winner, one overall bodybuilding winner, one overall women's figure, all that sort of stuff. So it is a lot harder.
Yeah, absolutely. So
now, with your Canadian shows, obviously the Canadian Nationals, I assume they're Canadian only residents. Outside of that, your other shows, can anyone from any other country compete in those?
Yes, so the Vancouver Pro Qualifier, as well as the Toronto Super Show, those are both international shows.
Oh, cool. And they were both Pro Qualifiers?
Yes, correct.
Oh, cool. Very cool. Now, going forward, what sort of aspirations do you have? Do you think that, like, I'm not sure what height you are and how that fits with the 212, but you actually looked for, 190 something pounds. You looked very big. Like, I was surprised when I saw your weight. How tall are you?
Yeah, so, I usually, like, when I competed in Classic, I was always just over 5'7". Like, I was 5'7" and a third. But last year, when they heighted me in for the Vancouver show, they heighted me in at 5'6" and 3/4. So I actually had to go, I had my fiance walk on my back. I was hanging upside down in the bathroom trying to decompress my spine. And I actually was able to decompress my spine 1/2 inch because they re-heighted me in at 5'7" and 1/4. Because otherwise, there's no way I would have been able to do Classic, because I believe under 5'7", I would have had to weigh in at 177 pounds.
That's crazy, man. Now, at the Vancouver show on the weekend, it was a massive show. There's a lot of talk about that show and Hardy Chupin coming in and winning it. Now, did you get to watch that show?
I did, and seeing Hadi in person, pictures and videos do not do him justice. That was crazy, head to toe complete. What symmetry, size, proportions, and his conditioning was off the charts. It was crazy. I was very, very pleased that I got to witness that in person.
Yeah, and some people were saying, like, I don't know what you think about this, but he beat Nathan Diasha. Nathan's placed, last year 8th in the Olympia, the year before it was 7th. So he's right up there with guys still like Sean Roden, Big Ramy, Phil Heath in there. Take those guys away, he's probably a top 5 guy. Now, do you think Hardy could win the Mr. Olympia in the Opens if he did it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Especially, it's going to be interesting to see how this year's Olympia plays out. I mean, I know he has issues making it into the States due to visa reasons, but I would love to see him there. I mean, hopefully someone at AMI can make it happen, because I think that would bring a whole new level of excitement to the Olympia this year.
Yeah, of course. I reckon it'd be super exciting. But mate, thank you so much for the interview. I really appreciate it. And hopefully everyone that watches this jumps over and follows you on socials and everything like that, because you're a good follow on there. And I really appreciate you coming on the show. So do you want to thank anyone, any sponsors or anything like that?
First of all, thank you for having me on here. I really appreciate that. And first and foremost, big shout out to my coach, Neil Hill. Like I said, he's been incredible to me since day one. He's opened his doors to me, and I've built quite the personal relationship with him as well. Another big shout out to Jason Howe with Steel Supplements. Jason is someone else that saw something in me. I've been with Steel for a few years now, and he's always been super supportive of me, and which has allowed me to focus on pursuing my bodybuilding dreams and my career. And another thank you to my sponsors, Jed North, as well. And last but not least, a huge thank you to my fiance. She's I don't know what I did to deserve such an incredible person like her, but I'm very, very blessed.
I think she's cooking your food in the background too, so.
Yeah, she is.
That's always good.
She's good to me, so she's getting my food ready.
Very nice. Thank you so much for coming on the show. That's Cody Drobot, winner of the Vancouver Pro Qualifier and now IFBB Pro.